spotlight. Try to not be too emotional here. Um, I'm here to bring you an oldie but a goodie. It's a local um, college day. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Um, Last October, we celebrated what could arguably be the most innovative college day yet. It was a hybrid of sorts. And before we get into the current details in the future, let's have a reminder that this has been a historically mammoth county-wide effort. It has involved rallies and launch events and events across various schools. And it has involved several education nonprofits and educators themselves. From 2011 to 2019, Kids in Common, which is now its own nonprofit, it's no longer under Planned Parenthood, was at the helm of College Day until the ownership was transferred to the Silicon Valley Education Foundation. And now College Day has a seat among the many programs that are led by Santa Clara County Office of Education. Other steadfast partners that you'll notice up on the slide there are San Jose Kelso through UC Santa Cruz, and then UC Berkeley's Community for Education, or Center for Educational Partnerships, sorry. And they both develop content for financial aid, application workshops, etc. And Fernanda will be really familiar with this, so correct me if I'm wrong, or let me know if I'm lying unknowingly. And of course, CommUniverCity has always been at the helm of the Speakers Bureau, which has evolved from casting a really wide net of trying to recruit professionals and students from anywhere on campus or any college really, to narrowing the focus to CommUniverCity's core work, which is service learning. Now zooming, no pun intended, back to the present day, speaking of back to school and time traveling, we picked up a new faculty partner in Michelle Burns, and she actually once led I think about 2016, an in-custody education services program at Elmwood for the County of Santa Clara. We also continued our partnership with Professor, soon to be Doctor, I think this semester, Amna Jaffer. And altogether, they had 4 sections participating in College Day this year with our coach students. Together, those sections made up about 15% of our service learners for the fall. So if the pandemic were winter, the fall semester was Groundhog Day. It kind of let us know if this was going to drag on longer or if it was safe. And, we don't know where we are right now. Just go with it, I say. Do what you can. But for CommUniverCity in the fall, that meant trying some version of a hybrid event, like I previously said. Service learners had the opportunity to send worksheets to the kids at their school. So we had our little CommUniverCity delivery service where we took worksheets to the schools, but also at the request of principals who wanted their kids to have something tangible for College Day. We also delivered some pencils that were in the shape of College Day pencils, and also school supply pouches that had a little mask, a pencil, a ruler, and a nice message in there that said, thank you for learning and for being present during a challenging time. Like, we know it's hard for you. We also had putty, robot puzzles, stickers delivered to the schools. Yes, so there's that, that's tangible for College Day. Next slide, Matt. Sorry, I went a little bit off topic there. Ultimately, the worksheets and giveaways landed in multiple classrooms at the 7 sites that are plotted here on this map, according to their mascots. And everybody got a giveaway. Every classroom we were able to accommodate with things that we had from the past and also that we had recently ordered. So it worked out really, really well that we had the stuff ready to go. And I have to say that's actually probably in large part to Matt Snyder saying, we need to order stuff. And then Dr. Oy like giving us ideas of what to order. So thank you to our team for that one. And over the course of 3 consecutive Zooming days, approximately 940 elementary students across 45 classrooms, if you can imagine that, all on Zoom, heard 97 different stories, because that's how many service learners there were in different groups. They heard stories of their experiences of a college journey. For example, what was it like applying for college? What was it like getting into college? Were you super excited? What was your experience? And also, what's college like right now? Are you actually living there or you're at home? Because this was a hybrid class, so they had to be in person some days and online other days. And what you see here is a need for higher quality laptop cameras. I'm kidding. They're schools, we know. But this is basically what we saw is teachers showing their kids on the screen for the presenters to see while the presenters kind of called on kids during the lessons and activities. And some kids even walked up to the camera and showed their work. And you see some of the kids were also working on the floor because that's how they roll. That sounds like a fun thing to do when you need to stretch a little maybe. And what we are actually seeing is all the teachers who gave up some of their class time, which is really hard to come by a lot of times, is you're fighting against basically the California standards of having to have seat time for so many minutes during a school day and stuff like that. So to be able to do this during class time is a really big deal every year for College Day, and even more so now with the extra work that it takes and how spread thin a lot of educators are. So we're really appreciative that they let us into their classrooms. So how did it go? On the next slide. Nearly all of the respondents from the kids, they really liked the SGSU students. The presenters were relatable when they shared a pet story. What do you mean college students have pets? Of course they have pets. Everybody has pets. And because that was interesting information, the student who gave us that quote also remembered that one of those presenters wants to be an ecologist. So a ecologist is going to be rolling around in that student's brain for a while until the conversation kind of heats up a little bit about going to college, right? Elementary students observed that the presenters were taking turns. The college students work in groups just like we do in our classrooms. Yes, of course, you're sitting in groups, they're presenting in groups. Everything is about group work. We all here are a group. We worked together as a group to write that story, right? And this may seem trivial to some of us, but that's where we want these students to be, right? We want them to just think that college, it's the next step. That's where I'm going to be, because I've seen other people do it and they look like me and they have pets like me. And it seems like these presentations were effective in doing that and making college seem like the next step. They felt heard when they asked questions. They appreciated the time the presenters took to give them answers, and they either feel ready or they at least want to work on getting ready for college. Now, with the 45 spaces and 97 different personalities, there's bound to be variation in expectations and results. But for the most part, teachers felt that their kids were very engaged and motivated by the end of the presentations. One of the Olander teachers, Miss Marks, actually seemed to get a little teary-eyed and said, Olander kids are motivated to go to college now. And she literally said, I'm misty-eyed right now. So that was really sweet to see once they came out of their breakout rooms, and we grabbed whatever information we could as first reactions. And these let's see. From an objective perspective, when we're talking about variations in results and expectations, these are 3 answers to an open-ended survey question about what the kids learned from their presenters. They learned that majors, they prepare you for a future. They learned that that college campuses are huge, like massive pieces of land with lots of people walking around, and that you have to write a lot for college, to get into college, to do assignments for college, and so on and so forth. As for how the information was actually delivered by the college presenters or service learners, it was the week before Halloween, so hence the cobwebs and the bats and Frankenstein there. It was delivered the week before Halloween, but I'm sharing with you one example of what one group of students did. This group of students actually got together in the library with masks on because they had that option. We told them you can be together in a group with masks on for safety, or you can be completely virtual and present that way. And so what they did here is they talked about majors. They gave kids different options. They showed them an example of a future career worksheet, and then the kids filled out and drew what they actually want to be when they grow up. So I thought that was a really great exercise, really basic, especially when the grade levels that we were targeting were basically K through 5. And so very lower level educational, not quite yet at middle school, where they have to really start thinking about applying and the A through G requirements and everything else. But that's why UC Santa Cruz and UC Berkeley are there to help us with the financial aid workshops and to help us with content workshops on applying for college. So it's a really great committee that we have with the College Day Committee. Okay, so during our roadshow presentations, which Mary Kay is going to discuss in a little bit, at the start of each semester, we share with the students that community engaged learning, our business, it's an opportunity to find your place, to develop your skills, or even to gain a competitive edge against courses that are not implementing service learning into their class. For different presenters who participate in this project, the experience can be reflective. Like, that used to be me. I was asking questions, but now I'm answering the questions for them, is what one of the San Jose State students said. Another said, whoa, I know what I want to do. I'm going to go into psychology because I really liked working with the kids. And so I'm going to go into education, and psychology will be my major. So that answered college, being a College Day presenter answered that question for that student. They found their place, right? Now, considering the makeup of the group, we're not one single major. It's just a list. You don't have to read through it, but not one single major in the gray box that you see there is the same. There's one that overlaps, that's doing like a double major. But aside from that, none of them are the same. So we have a group where none of the majors are the same. So they're a really diverse group in that respect. But they're also mostly all freshmen. A very large portion of them are freshmen. And additionally, more than half of them have not done a service learning project before College Day. And it means a lot that they understand and feel connected with the local community. As you can see here, more than half of them felt that outside of campus, I should say, and they feel that their academic skills have improved as a result of this experience. So that's really great to know that it's working for service learners and also for kids. Now, for the next slide, I'm going to pause a little bit to scan that and take a look at the blog that Mary Kay wrote, but also to ask Mary Kay about her experience, because I think she was on all of 2 weeks, maybe, when College Day came around. And even Spadoni, if you want to chime in here, you can. Actually, we're kind of short on time. Can you do like a one sentencer?
A one sentencer? I mean, I can just, yeah, sure. Let me just try and go as fast as possible. So I was presented upon an eager classroom full of children who are learning, who are eager, to learn about college. And I think one thing that really stuck out is that they were super curious about college culture. When it was question time, they asked about what I ate, how I got to school, and if you can live on campus. So I thought that was really cool.
Thanks so much, Mary Kay. Spadoni, you got a one sentencer for us?
Yeah, everything Mary Kay said, and I'll add, the kids have big dreams. Like, they want to do big things. So I think it's great that we're encouraging them and supporting them in this way. Because when we ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, lots of them had big ideas.
That's great. And thank you both for jumping in. Even Matt Snyder actually participated as well. We did a couple of presentations together, and we did it all to accommodate the teacher. So there, in some instances, there were not enough service learners from the core classes to fill the classroom. So we took it upon ourselves to find extra people to fill the spaces. So that was really great. And I also want to share, just to start closing out, that College Day is a combination of intrinsic motivation and an intake of new information about college for these kids. This includes what college offers, what can be possible with a college education, and the various paths that one could possibly take to attend college. I mean, just over the course of those 3 days, these kids got to hear 97 stories about how to get to college. And to put a finer point on what kids take from their participation in this project is that there are many types of ways to get to college, and different types of careers they can get to, and how the presenters arrived at their current point in life in different ways. Just life is interesting, right? We all have a yarn. And what was learned from one student to the next is just totally different. So it's hard to say, unless we were to do like a really long term with a couple of students study, what their next steps will be. But I can tell you from current or recent EdCo students that they remember college day. They remember someone coming to their classroom and talking about themselves and sharing stories and experiences and lessons and activities. So we're that far in, a decade in, and current college students are remembering their experiences. One thing that College Day has done really well for the past decade is encourage teachers and really entire school districts to begin a conversation about College Day a week or two prior to the presentations from the service learners. And without a designated or a dedicated day to talk about college, it's hard to say if any of these conversations in preparation for the big day would be taking place at all, right? They could just be straight academic work all year long, or they can pause once in a while here and talk about college, about the future and why they're doing all of that work. College Day has essentially become a placeholder for teachers and families to have these conversations with each other, even if it may only be once a year. It's become an experience the students, the elementary students, will carry with them throughout their academic career and remember us when they go to college. And when we go and present, they're going to be like, hey, I was in that class where someone came to speak. And then we'll ask them which one. And they'll say, I don't remember, but I remember that someone was there. And it's a kind of invigorating experience that maintains the intrinsic motivation of the students, again, grade after grade after grade. Most people would agree that it does take a village, indeed, to raise a child. And CommUniverCity's, we are so proud that we are the villagers that introduce these Central San Jose kids to an experience that will lead them to a path to a thriving life in a vibrant and healthy community of their choosing to, because they will be in a situation where they can do that. We're continuing this work on March 1st, so not the date that you see there, 2 to 4, but it's going to be College Day as a prelude to the ALAS conference. And the presentations will be by Michelle Burns, a student, the second faculty member we picked up in the fall. She wanted to know if we do it in the spring, and I was like, we don't know. And then Nick McMillan at Ace Inspire Academy says, what's College Day? And so I said, let me show you. So we have a spring edition of College Day with Ace Inspire Academy, 2 new partners in him and Michelle Burns, and her EdCo students. So we'll be there as a prelude to the ALAS conference and telling the stories, doing the lessons and activities, and sharing the information about the workshops as a further learning for these middle school students who are in those grades when it's about that time to start thinking about college, right? And also another thing we're working on this semester is with Bobby McConney students. They'll be actually helping create campaigns for College Day in the fall. So it's a split of a service learning project that they'll be participating in. We'll do the work this semester and it'll pay off in the next semester for College Day. So we're really excited to see that. And that is what I have.